Today we have a special main speaker with us. So earlier Eric talked about some of the financials of Oasis, and one of the things that you may realize is that we are sitting in a fairly new location for us. Just a few months ago we were out on the west side of town, but we actually recently began a partnership with the Castillo Community Center here, and it's a really interesting story about this place, and we're really honored to have one of the people that's kind of behind that here with us today, and I think in a way to showcase too how what we're doing here at Oasis by paying rent, if you will, to be here every Sunday is actually coming back and benefiting a great organization that's doing great things. So we are honored to have with us Leo Escalante, who is the program director of the Leonel Castillo Community Center, to give our main talk. Leo?
Hello everyone, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. So thank you so much Oasis for having me here today. It's truly a pleasure to be here in front of you today. And my name is Leo, so I'm the program coordinator here. My title is not as fancy as program director, but hopefully soon enough it'll be program director of some sorts. But so I'm just here to tell you a little bit about the history and about the work that we do. And also, just to get it out of the way, my name is Leo, as in Leonardo, not Leonel. So I have no connection to the building. I was not named after the building, nor was the building named after me. Because you have no idea how many times people have asked me, are you Leo, as in Leonel? And I have to tell them, no, I'm Leo, as in Leonardo. And they get really disappointed. But anyways, so I'm the program coordinator here at the center, which basically means that I'm just in charge, and I'm just part of a team in charge of making sure that everything is running smoothly here at the center, and that we're serving the community as well. Now, how do we actually serve the community? That's of course what I'm going to tell you a little bit more about in just a little bit, because first I want to tell you a little bit more about the history of this beautiful community center. Because believe it or not, we didn't just realize, and we didn't just think about like, all right, let's take a look at maybe one of the 3 or 4 hills in Houston and build a community center like on top of it. It wasn't so easy as that. It's actually quite a lot of history behind this community center and what this community center used to be in the past. So I don't know if anybody of you has been to the little museum that we have down there. Has anyone seen the little museum that we have down there, the Leonel Castillo Museum? Okay, perfect. So in that museum, you might have seen 2 pictures on the left-hand side of the wall. Those 2 pictures you can see like what the community center looks like now and what the community center used to look like when we first opened doors. Because this community center, it wasn't always a community center. It used to be actually an elementary school. And this elementary school started in 1919. So this is of course part of why this building has so much history. Because I mean 1919, so that's almost 100 years of history that that can be traced back. But also because the way that this community center became what it is now, it's kind of like a representation also of some of the mission that we do here of our organization, Baker Ripley. Well, before we were neighborhood centers, but up until 3 weeks ago, we changed the name to Baker Ripley. So bear with me because it's still a little bit difficult for me to change the mindset from neighborhood centers. No, Baker Ripley, Baker Ripley. So anyways, our organization is now called Baker Ripley. But in our organization, we focus on transforming lives and transforming communities in what we call it for good. And this is, of course, kind of like how we got to be in the place that we are right now. Because the community, they worked together, they fought together so that this building could be transformed into a beautiful community center. So, as I mentioned, this building used to be Robert E. Lee Elementary, and it opened doors in 1919. So for about 83 years, this elementary school served generations of near North Side youth. Because this is what we call this area, near North Side. It's not the North Side, it's near North Side. But it served a lot of generations of the youth here. So back then, life used to consist of going to Robert E. Lee Elementary, going to a high school, and then of course going to college, and then just moving on, and a lot of people kind of moved back as well. So this elementary was in operation for 83 years, and for this 83 years it was an integral part of this community. And this is of course one of the many reasons why this is considered a historic building. But another main reason why this is considered a historic building is because of the architect that designed this school. So if some of you are a little bit of, like architecture history or something like that, you might have heard of the architect that designed this school. His name is Alfred C. Finn. Has anyone heard the name Alfred C. Finn? Okay, perfect. So yeah, and if you haven't heard the name, no worries. I mean, I just kind of like found out about this guy when I started doing the research and when I started working here. But yeah, so Alfred C. Finn, he was alive from 1883 to 1964, and he was a very prominent architect at the time here in Houston. So if the name sounds familiar, and if you're kind of thinking, I'm pretty sure I've heard that name before, where have I heard that name, or why is that name popular, is because this guy also built a lot of other popular buildings here in Houston. So for example, anybody Cougs fans, go Cougs, yeah, U of H, all right. So Alfred C. Finn also designed the Ezekiel W. Cullen building at University of Houston. This was in 1950. He also designed the Golf Building in 1929, which was Houston's tallest skyscraper from 1929 up until 1963. And this is actually now called JP Morgan Chase Tower. But of course, everyone is familiar with the tower, and sometimes you can even see it from here. And then he also designed the San Jacinto Monument in 1936. And this is just among other buildings that he designed in Houston. So he was very well known in the area. So if you're wondering, how is it that this elementary school was so fortunate to have been designed by one of the most prominent architects at the time? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you. And this is something that I'm trying to figure out myself. Because yeah, I mean, of course, he was very well known in Houston, in Texas, and I have no idea how we were fortunate enough to have this amazing architect also design this very beautiful elementary school back then. So, as I mentioned, Robert E. Lee Elementary maintained or was in operation for 83 years, 83 years being part of this community. Now, due to population growth in the area and due to the fact that this elementary had been in existence for close to a century, then the city decided to build a new elementary called Kettleson Elementary, which is actually down the road from here. It's about 2-3 blocks away from here. And that was in 2002, and at that time, unfortunately, they decided to close down Robert E. Lee Elementary. So sadly, this elementary that was once full of life remained shut down for close to a decade with no use whatsoever. And there's all sorts of stories about what used to happen here when the elementary was shut down. Some people say that HPD used to actually come to the building and practice doing raids in the community. Some people say that that's during the time that a ghost decided to move in the building. So there's all sorts of stories about what happened during those 10 years that the elementary was shut down. So after the school had been shut down for close to 10 years, Sylvia Garcia, anybody familiar with Sylvia Garcia? I hope you are. Okay, perfect. But Sylvia Garcia now is, of course, a member of the Texas Senate from the 6th District. But back then, she was a commissioner for Harris County. So she was actually the commissioner before the current commissioner, Jack Mormon. So Sylvia Garcia planned to renovate this building as a community center, and she wanted to specifically target senior citizens in the community. So she started working with the community, she started reaching out to some of the civic clubs, she started reaching out to some of the organizations that work in the area so that they could all get together and work towards transforming this very dilapidated building into a beautiful community center that we now have in place. So, thanks to the community coming together, working together, and having a vision for what they wanted to see in their community, at this point, and also, of course, thanks mainly in part to the initiative by Sylvia Garcia, so everyone got together to make sure that this building would be rebuilt as a community center that would focus on serving the community and that would better the community. And of course, to honor the prominent human rights and Hispanic rights advocate, Leonel Castillo, the community decided to name the center after him. So this was after 93 years that the building had first been constructed. So from 2002 to 2012, this building was shut down, no use whatsoever, In 2012, Sylvia Garcia and then the county bought the facility. And then from 2012 to 2013, they decided to start renovating the facility. And of course, the end result that we have now is this beautiful community center. But of course, the reason why it's beautiful is not because of the amazing design that the architecture firm did on the building, and of course like all the walls and all the decorations and everything, but because of the history and because of the people getting together and actually saying, we want to be active participants in the transformation of our community. How can we do that? All right, well, let's get together, let's work together, and let's build a community center that's going to help us and that's going to help the future generations as well. So that's, of course, 93 years of history just in a nutshell. And of course, I wish I had more time and we could talk about Alfred C. Finn and about all the other cool buildings in Houston. I think he also designed the BBE Compass Stadium. That's a joke, he didn't design the Compass Stadium. But anyway, so I wish I had more time to tell you a little bit more about the history behind the center. But now I want to take also a little bit of time to tell you about what we do here in the center. And how is it that we're making sure that we're serving the community? And of course, are we actually saying, are we actually doing what we said we were going to do? And are we actually helping the community transform, give them the tools so that they can transform their lives? So unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a clear idea of what we do here in Leonel Castillo Community Center. And unfortunately, we're mainly known for three things. So one is to come watch the 4th of July fireworks. So if no one has plans yet for 4th of July fireworks, I encourage you to come take a look over here because the view from the hill is just fantastic. And also now that we have that little trail addition that connects to the bayou, there's all sorts of opportunities for you to come set up a little picnic table or something like that. But then it's a very popular spot for 4th of July fireworks. Now another reason why we're known is because we also throw some amazing wedding and birthday parties here at the center. Now, unfortunately, our foam machine is no longer in operation because it got out of control when we were doing parties here. And that's another joke. We've never had a foam machine, and probably the facilities director would kill me if she knew that I was showing this picture. But we never had a foam machine. But we do actually private rentals. So if anybody's interested in renting this for an anniversary party, birthday party, something like that, then come talk to us because we can give you a good rate. And then of course another reason why we're known in the community is because this is also a perfect spot to take a selfie. So if no one has tried it, once again I encourage you to just go out there, get your phone out and take the good old selfie. And of course, these are not the right reasons that we want to be known for. I mean, of course, it brings us great pride, and it's amazing that that's a place where you throw amazing parties, right? And we're like, yeah, but we also do a little bit more than that. Okay, so, and that's actually, I want to clarify that that's not me. That's just, some people have asked that before as well. But okay. So everything that we do here in the community center is part of the vision within our organization, Baker Ripley, that's called community-based initiatives. So community-based initiatives encompasses what we call a holistic approach to community development. Because community development is not only about offering financial stability, it's not only about offering education, it's not only about offering civic engagement, it's not only about offering wellness programs. It's about all of these components working together and creating a wraparound of services that lift the community. So this is what we call our 4 themes, our community-based initiatives, and they revolve around earn, learn, belong, and be well. So just simplifying these aspects that together they work and they lift communities, and of course they improve people's lives as well. So under earn, and also I should say that the way that we kind of work in all of these programs and in all of those things is through collaboration with a lot of organizations, members from the community, civic clubs, city officials, and all of us working together to ensure that we're offering programs that actually have an impact and that are of relevance for the community. So under those programs, earn, learn, belong, and be well, we have program strategies to make sure that we're actually taking into consideration the needs of the community and that the programs are not just something like a top-down approach, but more like grassroots programs. And the way that we design these programs is by talking to the community, asking them what they would like to see, asking them what is it that is missing in the community, and asking how is it that we can help. So this is what we call an appreciative inquiry process into figuring out what programs we can offer in the community. So to start off, EARN of course involves everything related to financial stability. So we have financial education workshops where participants receive financial education related to improving their financial health. We also have home buyer education workshops through collaboration with some of the partnering organizations. So participants receive education on the process of buying a home, for example. We also have small business workshops. So anybody that's interested in kind of like starting their own business and they just need a little bit of guidance and they don't know what steps to take to get that business started, we also help them out with small one-on-one coaching. And these are some of the workshops that we've had in the past. Let's see. Okay. So we have like accessing capital. So how can you access capital? We also have how to open your own business. We also have like basic accounting principles. So really, like if you don't know how to start a business, come see us. We'll guide you through all the steps that you need to take to get the business up and running. And that's actually one workshop that we had in collaboration and in partnership with Frost Bank. And that was at the beginning of the workshop, so that's why it looks a little bit empty. I promise that our workshops are very well attended. So the next one is Learn. So Learn is everything related to education. So we have, for example, our youth education program where we teach our youth valuable skills and soft skills, work readiness, community leadership, and entrepreneur skills as well. We also have our English as a second language classes. We also have our adult basic education classes and computer classes, among others. This is part of our youth summer program, and the youth summer program, it's a summer program that we have in place for high school students, and we take them to different universities around the area. We take them to museums. We bring other organizations to give them workshops about work readiness, college preparedness, and things of that nature. And the next one is Belong. Now Belong is a very big part of this community center because actually the idea for all the community centers, this community center, Leonel Castillo, is only one of 5 community centers with the 6th one being built over there by East Aldi. But the idea behind each community center is that each one will have a focus and will be known for something specifically. For example, our Harvard Ripley Community Center is known for the wellness programs. And actually my colleague Cassie Jones was also scheduled to come speak with me today, but unfortunately she wasn't feeling that well. And yeah, this is not a joke because she's the wellness manager, but she wasn't feeling well. But then yeah, so unfortunately she wasn't feeling very well. But then yeah, so the purpose or the vision for Leonel Castillo is that this community center becomes a community center known for the civic engagement programs that we have here. Because as you well know, we're very centrally located. We have downtown just 2 miles away from here. We're also connected to the north side area. So the location of this community center is ideal to bring like organizations and city officials and members of the community to work on different civic engagement projects. So that's why we want to be known for our civic engagement programs and for this Belong aspect. So now what are the program strategies under the Belong theme? These are, for example, voter registration. So anybody that's interested in getting registered to vote, and all of you should already be registered to vote, but if you're not, then we can register you right here. Then we also do civic connection events where community residents come together with stakeholders, policymakers to discuss issues that impact the community. Then we also do high school empowerment fairs where we focus on providing students information about civic engagement, college and career readiness, and leadership as well. And then we also do leadership training, where members of the community are given the tools they need to work on a project that benefits the community. And of course, we also host some civic club meetings here at the center. So this is of course kind of like the main bulk of the work that we do here. But also the second biggest component of the center is probably the small business team that we have in place, because it's housed here in the community center. So please, if you know anybody that wants to start a business, refer them our way, because we can give them the tools they need to get that business up and running. And lastly, the last thing that we have, this is actually from one of the civic engagement meetings that we had here. This was a Municipal Id Forum where we invited members of the community to come to policymakers to talk about the benefits of having a municipal ID for those people that don't have any form of ID. So this is just one example of the many workshops and events that we have here at the center. So lastly, we have Be Well. So this is of course everything related to health and wellness. So our wellness program, unfortunately, here at the center only has 4 program strategies because, as I mentioned, the Harvard Ripley Community Center, that's the one where all the wellness initiatives are taking place. But here at the Leonel Castillo, we have health workshops. So health workshops, this is where participants receive information about different health topics. Then we also do wellness screenings, like dental screenings, like blood pressure, glucose checks, and things like that. We also have fitness classes, so Zumba, yoga, Tai Chi, martial arts, something like that. If anybody is interested in taking the Zumba class, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I've tried it before, and I mean, I'm not very good at it, but it's a lot of fun, and you really break out a sweat. So you should come check it out. But and we also have monthly food fairs. So monthly food fairs, this is in a collaboration with the Houston Food Bank. So we distribute food to members of the community for free every 4th Thursday of the month. And I must say that in any of the programs that I've mentioned, in all the work that we do, if you want to get involved and if you want to help us out in some way, then yeah, come see me after this, or I'll have my information up there. So if you want to volunteer with us, then we're always more than happy and more than glad to have as many volunteers as we can. But yeah, so the last one is community health fairs. And these are just some of the pictures of some of the activities that we've had in the past. We have our monthly food fair right there, our very peaceful yoga class right there, and then some little girls doing ballet. And you should see, of course, our ballet class, because we have 2 ballet classes, one for beginners, one for a little bit more advanced. But the beginner ballet class is mainly composed of little girls that are like between 4 and 6, and it's just adorable, like seeing them dance, because of their coordination is not very well developed yet, but it's really adorable to see it. But anyway, so this is all that we do here at the community center. This is also, of course, like in a nutshell, because we do a lot more, and just because it's not listed and it doesn't fall specifically in one of the themes that I mentioned there, doesn't mean that we don't also do those type of things. Like we have, for example, technology workshops with AARP. We have, for example, also health workshops, or a little bit more specific health workshops, talking about health or your heart health with the American Heart Association. Actually, we're going to have one upcoming on March 22nd. So if anybody's interested and wants to learn more about how to keep their heart healthy or something along those lines, there's going to be from 8:30 to 12. And well, once again, I'll give you all the information if you're interested in this. But so basically, what we want to do is be a platform for members of the community and organizations to work together in transforming their communities for good. And this is just, kind of like, in general speaking, this is what we strive to do in the community and what we get up every day to do in the community as well. So once again, if this sounds interesting to you, if you would like to help, if you would like to get involved, if you maybe have a nonprofit or know someone that has a nonprofit and you would like to collaborate or partner in any way, we always believe that we can maximize the impact that we have in the community by strengthening the relationships that we have with other community organizations and, of course, with community members as well. So if any of this sounds like fun to you, then please come see me after this. Okay, so this is all I have for you today. As I mentioned, we had kind of like a longer presentation planned for you, but unfortunately our wellness manager was not feeling that well. So thank you so much all for your time, and I'm going to be here to answer a few questions in case you have any. And once again, thank you Oasis for inviting me and having me here today.